Hi everyone, this is Daniel from Ellis Christmas Wonderland. This is our second year doing a computerised Christmas display. So this year we're moving to full pixels. Last year we started off with the matrix screen, which you can see up in front of us here, so I'll quickly show you that first of all. So with the screen we've got it mounted up on legs, so 4x2 timber. I just screwed to the framework there, so I've used some alloy square tubing from Bunnings and I mounted the back, so 4x2 down at the bottom. I've just got that ratchet strapped around my poles here, so clear tablecloth to protect it. It's waterproof it, and I've also used some cut up milk bottles taped over the top just for ventilation there, so that protects the two power supplies, gives it a bit of ventilation. Running off a Beagle Bone Black and an Octa scroller from Hanson Electronics, along with a couple of hex fuses up there. So that was last year's model. So this year everything has changed. We've gone to 4 pixels, as I say. So it all starts around here to the main control cupboard, which I've got here. So I had this left over, it wasn't being used at all, so I just decided to utilise this. So in here got an F16 V3 Falcon controller and 4 power supplies, so we're not quite utilising all the power supplies this year for the display. The 3 of these is used, the rest of them have got power out through the yard, which I'll show you shortly. So ventilation, I've just got a fan mounted through the door here and a vent down the bottom, but it's not a fully waterproof cupboard. It doesn't need to be where it is under here. We don't get any rain or anything like that. I've also got my switch down here, so I've got my data coming in from the house and also going out to my secondary Falcon and round to the Beagle Bone around the corner. So one machine, trying to keep the cables nice and tidy. So as you can see here, this goes out around to the house and the rest goes up overhead here. So I'm just trying to limit the cables that I've got on the ground. So this goes through up into my barley hut. I've got my secondary Ethernet going through to my second Falcon, which goes over down the bottom here, which I'll show you shortly. So with my house outline, what I've done is I've used some Dita 25x25mm trunking. I've drilled holes through the pixels, through the trunking to mount the pixels, and they just push straight through. I haven't put the backing on the trunking at all. As you can see, I've used some cable tie mounts here, just siliconed onto the house and cable tied them directly on. So Raywu pigtails everywhere. Utilising speakers that I got second hand, so $50 for a pair of speakers, which is good, and cabled through the house up through the roof, so it's nice and tidy, so when that's not in season I can take them away. So what I've done is I've got one main output from the Falcon, and what that does is feeding this side of the house round through the house outlines you can see here, around the window, follows all the way around here, up into this window frame around here. I've got another cable which runs underneath, and that goes to the second side of the house, so running just along here, this window frame, and along up here. Another one I've got which does the whole gutter, so all the way around the top of the house here, up around the top and along the front, and a bit hard to see here, but my third one does the top of the roof, up and over and down to this side here. I've had to obviously power inject along the way, so as you can see at the top here, got an injection going up there to the front of the archway here, and also just around this side here. You can see I've got cables going up to the top here, which go up to the peak, and also I've got round to the other side here, so the power running up from this side of the house. So a few different models I've made this year. I've made my own 5mm Coro spinners. So as with the Dita trunking, you can see up here, it's all 5mm spacing. That's 5cm spacing, and the spinners are 5cm spacing as well, with a 90cm circle in the middle. My Tune 2 sign I've made myself as well, so that's made out of tint tube, or the inside of tint roll. So what I've done is I've just cut out some Coro and mounted some pixels in the Coro there, so that just feeds straight through, quite effective. And I've just painted the outside, so just did a tape stencil to get it all painted and cut it out, nice and easy. Santa and the sleigh here I won through our mini this year, and I've put a single pixel with a ping pong ball in Rudolph's nose just to make him light up as well. Okay, another feature I've done is I've got these balls from Bunnings. So these are the larger size balls, the 30cm ones. So I do have 4 on that side of the house and 4 on this side. So how I've done those is I've just cut some tin tube up and hot glued that inside, and as you can see here, I just drilled, and I've got opposing pixels inside there just to make it nice and easy. Okay, as you probably saw as we went past here, this is my Giga Spinner. This is made up of 70 reject shop balls, little solar balls that you can get from reject shop, about 10 centimeters each. So what I've done is I've made a ply backboard, which is not completely full, as you can see. I've made some arms up at the top there. So the way I've done that is I've just mounted a pixel inside each of those, just on a piece of Coro. Just pushed it through so it's nice and firm. And then I've actually screwed each of those backing plates from the spinners through here. So as you can see, it's a bit of a mess, but very effective. As you can see, I've actually added a null down here as well. So with these models, I'll show you where they run from. I've got a bit of a run here. So this runs from this first spinner here. Okay, so this is my 4th run. So I'm running from this spinner all the way down through these 4 Bunnings balls, round to my Giga Spinner, I call it, and then round to my secondary spinner. That's why I've used the null. So I'm just getting a long stretch here. I found the data wasn't getting all the way through. So the mega spinner here, down into my tune 2, into Rudolph's nose, and then those 4 mega balls there. Okay, so other models I've got a probably 2.5 metre approximately Christmas tree, which was actually donated to me after our display last year. A lady came round and kindly donated that. So what I've done is I've just made up some ping pong ball pixel nodes. So these are just cheap plastic ping pong balls, which you can get a set of 6 from cheap shops. Just drilled a hole into those, just gently with a hobby borer, I suppose you call it, and push them on. So I've got 40 pixels on that. So that runs off another output. So I've got data going all the way around from that first control box, which you saw around the other side of the house. So I've used nulls along the way as well for data, just so we're getting good quality signal. And that runs into my MIDI balls and my tint tubes. So those balls are slightly smaller. They're 20cm balls from Bunnings, which I've stripped out. And again, I'll just put some pixel nodes inside Coro, down inside the tint tubes. So I haven't got them sealed top or bottom. Rain can go straight through, but they're completely waterproof. I've got some spiral trees. So these are some WS28 12B pixel strip, 5 metre strip, which I've just wound around some tomato cages. I have got some wire here, which I put on to start with, just to give me a bit of a guideline on where I was going, so I can cable tie that along the way, just to give it a nice even space, and just a cheap plastic star on the top. But they're quite effective. So cables on the yard, as you can see, I've made it all fairly tidy. So I've got a bit of cable going around here, around the back of the tree, down the front here, through the spiral trees, this storm, and we've got power coming in from behind here. This is my secondary power box, I suppose you'd call it. So I've got 3 12-volt power supplies in here with the F8 power boards, distro boards, obviously fan for ventilation, which I got from David ABD, and the vents as well, all made up with the glands. Not that it needs to be super waterproof under here, I don't really get rain under here either. So with that, I've got one power supply coming from the other side of the house, so one mains power supply coming into here, and that plugs into here. So I've got the 3 power supplies, the 3 black ones you can see on the left there, which is the power for this box. The other 2 are running up to the 5-volt power supplies up here. Okay, so down on this side of the yard, just for a bit of symmetry, I've also got 4 MIDI balls here, I call them, and the tint tubes again. So with the MIDI balls, I've just simply mounted 2 pixels into Coro facing straight up. And they're not super bright, but they're quite effective, and obviously I can adjust the brightness depending on what I'm using. So another 4 spiral trees on this side of the yard, and then I've got my arches as well. The arches are made of air seeder tube, which I got off eBay, which most of the guys do on ACL. Again, trying to keep the cables nice and tidy, so I've got no cables other than what's going through here, and then coming through to the second Falcon. So the second Falcon here, and obviously power here as well. So again, 3 power supplies. I've got 2 5-volt power supplies which are powering my Mega Tree, which I'll show you in a sec, and 1 12-volt which is powering the Falcon, and a couple of models here powers the arches and the tint tubes and balls just on this side, so not much draw on this side. So nice and waterproof, obviously, with the cable glands and everything else. I have put a chain and a padlock on my stuff, which is actually cable tied. It's padlocked also to my 100 kilo concrete block, so if anyone wants to come take it away, good luck to you. Again, another power box there. So I've got the 3 power supplies and a secondary one, which I'll show you around here. So this is my secondary power supply, which is powering just my spiral trees at this stage. So this was a super cheap promo. I think it was $25 from memory. It's just 1 power supply and an F8 in there. Obviously ventilation with your fan and everything again. Okay, and onto the Mega Tree. So I've just got some tinsel snowflakes around the bottom there, which I've just cable tied on. With the Mega Tree, it is a trampoline base. So what I've done, this trampoline actually had 36 springs, so I've decided just to run with a 36 capability Mega Tree. I'm running 20 strips this year. So I've got these eye bolts which have bolted directly through where the slot was for each spring, so it's nice and easy, they're evenly spaced out. So those bolts, these ones here, which I bought from Bunnings, eye bolts, nice and strong. I've over-engineered everything probably, but that's alright. One thing I did find here, unfortunately, is the ground is very, very hard. I can't get any stakes or anything down to the ground, so I've got some rocks sitting on the legs there, so they will not move at all where they are. So as I say, 100 kilo concrete base which I've made up, so that's just sitting on the ground with a little bit of a base underneath that, so the pole's not going to go down. So that's a flagpole I picked up cheap, and at the very, very top there I've got the Boscoyo star, and I've got a custom topper which I got made from my mate Steve at Alleytech in Brisbane. So if anyone needs anything made, hit him up. Okay, so with the Mega Tree, as you can see here, these little blue bits, I've just got some balustrating cable which I've used as guy wire, so that goes all the way up to the top. So I've got 4 of those around to secure that, allowing a little bit of movement. Just put the blue tape on here to make it visible during the day, but at night time you don't really see that tape at all, so nice and easy. The other thing that I have added this year is the Boscoyo snowflakes. So 8 of those mounted to trellis. So it's a plastic trellis I've got from Bunnings, and I have mounted that directly to the house. So 7 holes through the house with the green plugs, and mounted directly through there. I have done some pixels up underneath my barley hut too, just for a bit of a glow effect up under there, which is quite effective. That's about it, guys. Any questions, feel free to ask. Hope you've enjoyed the walkthrough, and I hope it's been informative for some of you. If you need any help with anything, obviously give us a yell. Thanks again. Thanks for